Uh-oh, we got Michael Jordan as the GOAT claims.
Here we go. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you? Nice to meet you. I'm a big fan of your career, everything you stand for in this industry, but this awful take, I'm not going to let it seep through. So I'm asking you, is there one thing that you could definitively say that Michael Jordan did better than LeBron James over the course of his entire NBA career?
Yeah, he won better. He just won and won and won. He was invincible and unbeatable, and he went 6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs. And no, they didn't play the toughest competition in the finals, but the beasts were in the East, and he devoured and slayed the beasts one after another. Bird Celtics, then the bad boy Pistons, and then Reggie Miller's Pacers. And when you go 6-0 with 6 MVPs in the finals versus 4-6 in the finals for LeBron, and Ray Allen saved LeBron a loss there because LeBron had completely self-destructed in Game 6 of that 2013 finals. And then if Kyrie, when nobody can buy a shot, if Kyrie hadn't hit the shot of shots in Game 7 at Oracle, LeBron could be 2-8 in the finals. So we're talking about winning. I say it all the time. LeBron is still, to this moment, the best passer in basketball. I say it all the time. LeBron is still the greatest driver of the basketball I ever saw, to a fault, because he's a poor jump shooter, a poor three-point shooter by star standards, or certainly by superstar standards. And he's a poor free throw shooter by superstar standards. He should have 5,000 more points, but he's such a worse shooter than Jordan ever was as a jump shooter and a free throw shooter that it's hard for me to say, how can you call LeBron the GOAT when he's a lousy shooter?
Part of the argument to what you said is everything you just said is wrong. If you look at true shooting percentage, which takes into account all the offense, all the scoring, who had the better true shooting percentage in his NBA career in the regular season? LeBron James. Who had the better true shooting percentage in the playoffs? LeBron James. And you just said Michael Jordan won a lot better. So starting 1-9 in the playoffs in his career doesn't count, just doesn't matter.
Point. I mean, a lot of people omit that portion of Jordan's career. I think, again, at some point we have to acknowledge that basketball is a team sport. And then, again, we have to make the same argument on the other end. If we're talking about LeBron James being 4-6, are we just forgetting about the other 11 years that this dude's been in the NBA?
Or losing to the Pistons over and over again because he was so dominated by any level of physicality because he was soft. So that
you can't call him soft because he kept losing to the Pistons. I mean, let's look at the proof in the pudding. But, I mean, if you're talking about, like, comparing, like, say, somebody like Jordan, where this is the offensive focal point of a team, and if you're calculating field goal percentages and then also mixing in free throw percentages, shots that you can make with defenders guarding you versus shots that you're making with nobody guarding you. I mean, if you're having those equated in the same formula, I think it's not a true way to measure how good somebody is shooting the basketball. Michael Jordan's going to have a high true shooting percentage. Is he somebody I'm going to take shooting a basketball versus Stephen Curry? That doesn't make any sense. No. And then if you're calculating his true shooting percentage against somebody like, let's just say, for example, Kyle Korver, also a silly way to gauge it. Kyle Korver's going to get not nearly the shot attempts that somebody like Jordan will get. Additionally, if you want to look at Michael Jordan's playoff stats, I mean, just look at them right here. I mean, let's look at the stats prior to him winning championships. The dude was averaging at one point 44 points a game. Guys, we have information readily available to us. Let me get smaller so you can see it. Look, still his mid-20s. 27.4 points a game. It's about 9 rebounds a game and about 5 assists a game. Additionally, you can look at some of the success he had in the 89 playoffs. 89 playoffs, the dude was averaging 30 points a game. Again, didn't shoot well from 3, 19%. I mean, at the end of the day, if you had to take the lesser of two evils, you allow Jordan to shoot a couple jump shots here and there. But, I mean, him going 1 for 2, 0 for 2 in a couple games, I don't think that's necessarily going to mean too much, particularly when you were in the league in the era where people weren't shooting three-pointers. Did these guys slow Jordan down? Yeah. But, I mean, anybody else, any of the metric we look at it, 30 points a game, shooting 49% for 2, I mean, you would probably say this guy had it figured out. 1990, 32 points a game. 49% again from two-point line, 90% from the free throw line. If you're saying that this dude was soft when he was averaging about 30 points a game from age 24 to 26 against the Pistons in the playoffs.
Wait, did you just call Michael Jordan soft?
Compared to LeBron James?
He was the baddest you-know-what who ever stepped on a basketball court. Trust me, I was there. Not like LeBron?
Not like LeBron.
LeBron is like the nicest guy ever. He's soft. He's a diva. He's
thin-skinned.
Goodness. And can I start down the litany of epic fails that LeBron had that Jordan never had? Yeah, it took a while to break through against Larry Bird's Celtics. But remember that Michael Jordan had missed the whole year. He played 3 games and broke his foot. This is his second year in the league. And he comes back just for the playoffs and goes up against arguably the 86 Celtics, where you can make a case they were the greatest team ever. And what does he do? He scores.
Look at everybody over there.
And in game 2, he scores 63. It took double overtime. But after that game, Larry Bird said that was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, trust me, Larry Bird would have never said God disguised as LeBron James because look at the epic failures here. Do you remember 2010, some locker room issue with a teammate? Delonte West. Listen, Michael Jordan never had any issues with locker room teammates because they wouldn't dare to have an issue with Michael Jordan. So the point was he had to be sedated. What a wimp, what a weenie. Is that what we're talking about? And then Dan Gilbert, his owner, a few weeks later, accused LeBron of quitting in those finals. And then do you remember the first go around with the Heat?
Oh my gosh, this boy's getting cooked right now.
11 finals. Do you remember the chosen one became the frozen one? I've never seen anything like it. Michael Jordan never did that, even when they were.
Oh my gosh, he's cooking this dude.
Starting.
You want to discredit talking about 1 and 9 in the playoffs, and then not even talk about the fact that he couldn't even get to the finals in his first 6, 7 seasons, right?
Again, I think that's a moot argument to make. If you're going to talk about 1 and 9, then I agree that you could talk about the plenty of years that Jordan did not make it to the to the playoffs prior to, winning his first championship. Again, we're talking about a kid that was like 22 to 26. I think so. If you're going to allow LeBron the grace or allow Jordan the grace,
You see, that's where you're trying to pick and choose, right? You want to talk about clutch games, but then you don't want to talk about how he's dragged so many teams to the finals, right? And
Did
he's
he
the one,
drag the
and
Heat
he's
to
the
the
one,
finals?
and he's the one hitting the game-winning.
bro, I can't lie. Skip is pretty good. Look, I think that this dude obviously has a dissension for LeBron James, but I mean, with his debating stuff, he's cooking y'all. Guys, we got to have somebody with a better fight.
shots, right? The same way he took Toronto out, right? The amount of times he did that countless times, you don't want to talk about
Toronto didn't even have a shot.
that.
Well, I will.
You want to
I will give that to LeBron James. And I think Skip Bayless will give that to LeBron James. In 2016, he went 4-2 against Toronto. And majority of the games, the wins were blowouts. 115-84, not a close game. 108-89, not a close game. 116-78, not a close game. 113-87, not a close game. Let's look at the next year sweep. Clean, 4-0. Next sweep. Clean, 4-0. Toronto, ever a true inhibitor for him?
The last 2 years, I don't count.
That's crazy.
Okay,
So, but then you want to count everything about LeBron. You want to count everything about LeBron, but then take some
You
years
got
off.
Skip
He
here.
took 3 years off. He retired because they ran his coach out the back door in Chicago, and he
fault is
said,
that?
"I'm out." Well, it was on pride and principle. He just said, "I'm out. I'm not going to play anymore." And he came
And
back because he
greatness
was.
means keep playing year in and year
No,
out.
it
Every
doesn't.
year, LeBron keeps extending his career because the love of the game, and that matters,
Okay,
right? His
Jordan-
heart is still in
What? Brother, I came back. I didn't have to come back. I was Michael Jordan. But I came back. Gave y'all 3 more rings. Said, I'm good on this. And then he left Chicago again. He said, you know what I could do? I could keep back and play for the Washington Wizards. I don't have to, but I could do it. A 6'9" guy tipping a basketball in, being counted as a buzzer beater is...
He's afraid of the late game free throw line. And in late and close situations, since LeBron came into the league, he's the worst by
Why
far.
is basketball so much about the last 30 seconds when there's 47 minutes and 30 seconds?
Well, I feel you, but if we're trying to distinguish whether or not somebody's better than somebody, and I mean, if we're bringing up like stats and accolades, then we're going to say, you know what, let's omit the finals wins. Let's omit the defensive player of the year and the MVP awards. Let's omit all these things. And let's just talk about the game that they have. Then you're going to say, what's the distinction between these two guys? One is 6'9", 250. One is 6'5", 215. I mean, then we had to discuss the differences and nuances between these guys. One thing that made Jordan special was a lot of people talk about his clutch gene. A lot of people talk about what he commanded of his teammates.
In the game,
You're trying to make a
and there's
GOAT
so
case.
much, yeah,
You're-
GOAT
okay,
case, exactly.
Okay. And you're
Yeah.
trying to make it
Right?
over Michael Jordan?
Exactly.
You did a good job. You did a good job. Way to go.
Not really. He did call out some of Skip's hypocrisy, though.
You're going to need that cross
Yes.
around your neck.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Different direction.
I think we're going to go in the direction of Stephen Curry. And I'm going to point out your simple statement in one word.
Steph Curry?
You said laughably.
Okay.
And to me, that's bigger than Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. You are simply hitting and taking a personal shot at the entire game of basketball that we are watching today. And to me, you bring up competition. I think seeing Steph Curry and LeBron James and have go head-to-head in their rivalry, LeBron always posts on Instagram, he says, iron sharpens iron. Where was the iron sharpening iron with Michael Jordan when he was winning all of his championships? I understand that 6-0 is something that is perfect. You really can't debate it. But what you can do is say, all right, it was a beautiful thing. We're going to leave it in the past because there is greatness in front of our eyes, and it's LeBron James and it's Stephen Curry. And then we get into LeBron versus Steph, and I'm going to sit here and say, Steph Curry, if he wins a 5th championship, which he will, which is why I'm saying Steph's the GOAT, if he wins that 5th title, he is the greatest of all time.
Okay. Do you realize that Steph Curry and company had a 3-1 lead on LeBron without there's no Kevin Durant involved here, right? It's just Steph. So I think you would agree that was Steph's team, right?
It was a
There's
tough
Clay and there's
performance.
Draymond, and we get all that. But it's Steph Curry or bust to me.
Game 5.
Because Okay,
Draymond Green.
You've got he's gone. So you don't
Why?
have
Because
okay,
LeBron
but
made
if,
him gone.
If Steph is the GOAT, he's got 2
LeBron
out of
made
3
him
at
gone.
home to close the deal. All he's got to do is win 1 of 3, and 2 out of the 3 are at Oracle, and he can't pull it off because he's not that guy. He's not the GOAT. And what happened in Game 7 at Oracle? Remember LeBron's chase down block. Remember this?
Yep,
And
my
Kyrie
heart sank.
hits the game-winning shot. In the fourth quarter of that game, Steph Curry went 1 of 6, and he went 1 of 4 from 3. Well, I'm sorry, 1 of 5 from 3, and he had a terrible turnover with 2 minutes left where he tried to throw it behind his back and threw it in the 5th row. So it was a key turning point in that game. And without Steph disappearing in the fourth quarter, LeBron and Kyrie cannot do what they ended up doing. And after they blew the 3-1 lead, what happened on July the 4th that summer? Steph Curry led a contingent in a private plane, and they fly all the way across the country out to the tip of Long Island to visit Kevin Durant. And Steph Curry got down on one knee and said, "You've got to come save us. You, Kevin Durant, have to come save us because we can't beat LeBron James without you."
I understand.
Okay?
I understand
So
that.
you're disqualified as the GOAT. If you have to go beg
You're
somebody
not
to come save
disqualified
you.
because LeBron James, everyone here is talking about LeBron as the GOAT, and he did a very similar thing. When you
No, he didn't.
look at Steph Curry and his greatness, I get that he choked in that moment. The 3-1 lead, you're never going to be able to beat that. But what he did in 22 against
I mean, that's like a really big discussion. Like, look, as your resident Warriors fan, brother, that's a tough argument to make. I think it's tough to argue that any 6'2", 6'3" guard is going to be the GOAT of basketball, which is a tall man's sport. I think that's unfortunate. Like, GOAT shooter? Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
his best years are ahead of him, and I'm predicting that right
Really?
now.
Okay.
Yes, 1,000%.
Well,
I think
I
the
mean-
next 5 years of Stephen Curry are going to be his best 5 years.
Is this dude watching anything Warriors related? What the heck are you talking about? Dude, they just signed Jimmy Butler on a 2-year contract for $60 million. They sent away Klay Thompson. What are we talking about? We have Draymond Green on a max contract, and all of our young budding stars are not getting opportunities to play. You've seen Jonathan Kuminga not getting opportunities to play. Most of these guys are probably going to leave. This guy obviously just wanted to come out there with a hot take.
And he's been in the shadow of MJ for 22 years. He hasn't been, MJ, who did he look up to? He was with Magic, Magic, that's
What the heck are you talking about? You already just destroyed your own argument. If you talk about somebody being in the shadow of Michael Jordan for 23 years, but they haven't been able to creep out of that shadow, then again, they have not. How would they be the GOAT? What are you talking about?
How many times did he take a break? I know Jordan's done that a few times.
He got one break
You gotta
before
go
they
down
won
to-
their last championship in the bubble, the Mickey Mouse Championship, as I
gotta-
call it.
he
He
had a
got
break.
one. He got like a 4-month break ahead of that.
But then is that technically like a break though? Because you were still playing professional sports. So did you really put your body through a break? And I mean, you would think that if you dedicated a lot of your time to you playing another sport, then like you coming back to playing basketball would be foreign. If LeBron James said, "Okay, let me go play baseball," and then spent 3 years playing baseball, and then just jump back and was still quite as dominant and actually won 3 straight rings, I think that'd be, we would have to be like, hey, LeBron James is cut from a different cloth.
Nah,
Just real quick, I got obviously Jordan, Magic, Shaq, Kareem, Tim Duncan, Bill Russell, Kobe 7, Bird 8, and LeBron 9. Because I'm taking Kobe and Larry Bird as clutch players over LeBron James every day and every night.
So if you look this up, Shaq also said that LeBron is the greatest ever. So with that being said, if Shaq is deferred to LeBron and said he's the greatest ever, that would at least make him 3. He deferred to that. Give him 3.
What? What? Because Shaq can post-career say, you know what, LeBron James is the greatest player. That means that Skip Bayless should then adjust his list that he's created by his own metrics to including LeBron James.
It takes a lot of mental fortitude to play in the NBA for 22 years.
Oh my gosh. What are we talking about? Vince Carter did too. Bro, like, there's plenty dudes that had long careers, bro, in the NBA. All right, you got LeBron James with 22 years. Vince Carter, again, played 22 years. Dirk Nowitzki, then played 21. KG, Kevin Willis, Robert Parrish, Chris Paul, UD, Jamal Crawford, and Kobe Bryant, and Kareem. Are all those players greats?
And live up to all those expectations without a hiccup off the court,
All right.
without being, without
Okay,
being in the news for a negative reason. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that.
I give you all that. But we're just talking about your performance on the court.
What?
You're blind witness because you're blind to what happens. You expunge his record. You scrub his record. You don't want to hear all the negatives, and they just pile up. I call them epic fails, and I've given a couple so far, and I'm going to give a few more. Okay, it would be, but he
Also,
bricked it. He bounded it. It
one
hit
thing
hard
about the
off
epic failures.
Yeah.
Would you call Jordan getting swept in the first round 3 times in epic?
Oh my gosh. Do y'all have anything you can bring up? Yo, Skip is, I ain't gonna, like, bro, I get it. Skip is a pro. But he's bringing up points and like a multitude of points. Y'all continue to point to this dude getting swept. So we're like, again, Skip is pigeonholed at least LeBron's individual performances, individual instances in which LeBron James floundered under maybe extreme pressure, maybe different scenarios, defenses, whatever we're having a discussion about. Y'all are talking about this dude not succeeding as a team when it was apparent that he was unstoppable individually. Unfortunately, basketball is a 5-on-5 team game. If you don't have enough players that can gel in a manner that would allow you to win, surpass the next realm, there's nothing to talk about. We're talking about Jordan 2 from age 22 to 26. Again, are y'all omitting the years that LeBron James had to take in order to win for his first championship? When this dude was 18 to, how old was he? 26 when he won his first ring?
Doing, man, because Kobe's going to make that shot. Jordan's obviously going to make that shot. I think Shaq could have made that shot. It was so easy. Seriously. But
What do you have to say about Shaq deferring to LeBron?
What the heck is Shaq deferring to? What is 40-year-old Shaq?
He said it.
PR.
He said it.
It's
Why
PR.
would he say that?
Yeah.
Why does a killer say that?
The SGA, it could be SDA. You can call it CIA. Lakers in 5. Okay. Just gotta get out the way. All right.
Okay. Lakers in 5 to do what?
To win the finals, win
To
everything.
win this year's finals?
Your friend, Shannon Sharp, he's the only player to be in the 30-point club, 10K club for assists and rebounds. He's the only player to be positioned in as a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center at the same time. Okay. You have to debate that Michael Jordan or LeBron James is the GOAT in longevity. He's the GOAT just entirely because of what he's able to accomplish. What he's doing at age 40, he's breaking people's ankles. He's dunking on
Agreed.
people at age 40.
I agree with you. I've never seen anything like this guy
What he's
at
doing.
40.
And he's
Okay?
averaging as much points as he did in 2013 as an MVP. He averaged 27, 7, and 7. He's averaging 25, 8, and 8 as a 40-year-old.
He's actually shooting the ball better than he has in 22 years, both from the free throw line and the three-point line combined. What took him so long? I'm like, what have you been doing? I thought you were in the lab. This is year 22, and it took you this long to become an average free throw shooter?
You can take the last, say 5 40-year-old players that played in the NBA that played at least 40 games. All right, you can take Manu Ginobili, Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, Jason
You got me.
You can take all their retired numbers, put them together,
I
and they
agree.
won't average what
They will
LeBron's
not.
averaging right now.
Bro, and I'm trying not to agree with Steph Bayless. I think you can argue that LeBron James is doing great things, but bringing up his stats at 40 against people who should be playing in the YMCA isn't really much of a feat, I think.
The criteria for a clutch is anything in the last minute.
That's
of
not
the
what
full
my
point.
stats say or scream.
Well, I'm telling you
Okay.
what I found.
Okay.
So I found that they said that clutch means the last minute of a fourth quarter or overtime game with at least 20.
If you change the definition, again, it's like semantics. If you're starting to change definitions of what these things mean, then I think you could always find a stat that could fit your metric.
When Jordan made clutch shots, they really, really mattered. They endured. They were historic clutch shots because he first introduced himself as a freshman at North Carolina in the 1982, the college, the NCAA championship game.
Bro, y'all getting cooked right now.
Everybody did great. Thank you.